Hello, my name is Naomi Richardson, and welcome to another episode of the Power of Girlhood YouTube series. Today I'm interviewing Lex Brown and America Ali Yahya to cover the topics about the roles they play as community leaders and organizers in Detroit as college students who attend Wayne State University. This is definitely a college student edition. If you guys would like to introduce yourself, please go ahead.
Sure. I'll start. Well, I am Alexis. I mostly just go by Lex. My last name is Brown. I am an artist, a digital artist. I'm also a student at Wayne State University, currently studying media arts. I've been in college for a long time, so it's a marathon, not a sprint, but I take a lot of pride in going to Wayne State because both of my parents went there. That's where they met. That's where my brother went. Almost everybody in my family spent some time at Wayne State. So so I really love it there. In addition to me being a student at Wayne State, I also own a small media company called Wealthy Media, which is really fun. I do a lot of photography, social media strategy, digital marketing, kind of stuff like that. And it's really fun. It just allows me to stretch my creative legs. So it's a little bit about me.
Thank you. And America?
Hey everybody, I just wanted to start off by saying thank you for letting me be here. Really honored to be on. I'd do anything for Brenda, so I am appreciative of being here. I actually graduated from Wayne State, so not a student, but I'm a recent student. Class of 2021, and I graduated with my bachelor's in sociology and anthropology, minoring in anthropology. So, and eventually, found my way to sociology and anthropology, and I never looked back. But Wayne State has been it's been a family thing too, for the most part. We live like 10, 15 minutes away, and it's always nice to see a really great university at the heart of Detroit. So there goes that. And currently, I've been working in a second congressional office. This is my second year, and I actually work for Rashida. So in there, this is my third month, and coming from community organizing and going into legislative casework is not that different, but it's just the workload is interesting. I'll keep it there.
That's great. Thank you guys so much for, telling me a little bit about you guys' college and career experience so far. I'm going to start off with the first question. When did you discover that you wanted to focus on community building, and what inspired you to continue to become community organizers throughout your journey?
I can start, I suppose. Well, I've always, just growing up, I've lived in Detroit my whole entire life. So community is just something that is naturally important to me. But I think when I started realizing that I have the power to kind of like bring the community together was somewhere between my freshman year of college and my second year of college, because my freshman year I spent at Eastern Michigan University. And while I was up there, I met a lot of other artists, a lot of other community leaders, like a lot of people that had mutual interests as me. And then I had kind of like a community of people around me with the same interests. And I was joining like all these different art collectives. And I'm like, wow, this is really great. Like having this community of people around me to push me and hold me accountable and inspire me is just it did wonders for my creativity. It did wonders for just everything. So I started like participating in art shows, and this is when I started my first brand. And that consisted of me interviewing other artists from all over Detroit that I had met through creative work. And I gave them a platform to kind of just tell their stories a little bit. We would do an article about them for free. I would organize photo shoots for free, just wanting to really promote the creativity in the underground that lives in the city. So that is probably when I first started doing this type of work.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Do you need me? No problem. Sorry about that. I was just saying, would you like me to repeat the question at all?
Oh no, I think it was about when we first figured it out, or how we came into it. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. For me, I was born and raised in Southwest Detroit, so um, I actually look up to my older sister a lot, and she, for the most part, she was my ride, so I couldn't really say no. But she took me around with her to different places, especially in our community, in our Southwest Detroit area, and then moving on from there. So I learned it from my sister. We kind of went hand in hand with that, and started with just general, local community SAT, ACT prep, and education stuff. Um, really realizing and actually noticing, like, oh, everything past 8 Mile and out of Detroit is funded more. It's prioritized, especially in the state of Michigan. And I started out with my organizing work in education justice. So essentially, I was really pleased to see that other schools in other suburbs were getting the funding, and it wasn't equitably given out. And so I come from a charter school in Detroit that kind of did the same thing, where they took the funding and the money and the good teachers, and they sent them out to their sister schools in Dearborn Heights, and them. So like after seeing that for a long time, and my whole family going to this school, um, I was pissed, and everybody around was like, "Well, what can we do?" And um, something for me is that I either get really stubborn, or or I'm just like a little pissed, really angry. So didn't like that we weren't getting the things that we needed and deserved, and eventually saw how it was spread out everywhere in Detroit, and how it's such a huge city, and yet there's so much that we aren't given, rightfully given. And so I guess realizing that, and getting in touch with other role models in the community across Detroit, and people who come into the city to help, who got such good skills, is just getting into that. And then I eventually got into environmental and green energy justice, and all these different types of stuff. So um, yeah, noticing from a young age that we're not getting things that we deserve, and we have to fight for it. It's not easy to get them either. So
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Thank you guys so much for answering that first question, because having to find things out at a young age that the world isn't defending you or giving you the resources, it hurts. And it's like a permanent stain. So our second question, both of you guys are proud Detroiters. What is something about Detroit's culture and atmosphere that influences you? And this question is for Lex. How do you use photography for personal expression and or activism?
Ooh. Okay. So this is like a two-part question. So I'm sorry, can you repeat the first question?
What is something about Detroit's culture that an atmosphere that influences you?
I really love what America said about Detroit kind of being, not kind of, but we're severely underfunded in a lot of different areas. And just seeing that growing up, it pushed me to want more, not only for myself, but for my family. And I've always loved art since I was a kid. I've always been creative, and I've always used creative outlets to kind of like express myself or tell my story. I remember being a child and I would be upset about things, and I would draw pictures. Like I would literally draw pictures, kind of like expressing what I was upset about. And the same thing for when I was happy. So art has always just been an outlet that I'm comfortable with using. So I guess this kind of leads into the photography question, but about Detroit specifically, just seeing how hard people work to survive and how we can really take nothing and turn it into something, that inspires me, and it's amazing. And I love being able to capture that. And photography is just one outlet that I use to be able to do that. But I love documenting things. I think it's just very important. I think this is a historic time to be in Detroit. And I love being able to document that through photography, through film, just kind of showcasing what our people go through and how amazing we are and how creative we are. And it's not just like nitty gritty, but there is so much beauty and creativity and music and just wonderful things here. So anyway, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
Yes, of course it does.
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question? I was so enthused.
No, no problem. What is something about Detroit's culture and atmosphere that influences you?
I'm gonna have to definitely agree with Lex on this one about the art and just the people. And Detroit is such an artistic and just beautifully rich in just art and culture that people, when they see it, they always tell me like, I'm gonna come back, or this is the place to be. And I'm like, well, come back and like don't gentrify, but come and visit, give us the money, support, support black businesses, support Black Brown, but the truth is just Detroit is such a beautiful, rich and artistic, truly artistic city. Everywhere you go, you see art on different buildings. You hear our music. You've got the culture and the history here, and it's mostly black made and black started, black driven. Like we have to give the support and the recognition and the flowers to literally a 86-87% majority black city. I mean, they're trying to whitewash it for sure, but this is a majority black city and always has been, and definitely beautiful and rich. And people always be like, yeah, it's coming back. And I'm like, where to go? Where do you think we went? We've been here. I always tell people Detroit never left. It's just y'all. It's just y'all. So I like that. Another thing about Detroit is that I don't know if we're allowed to curse on here, but we don't really give it what people think. We're just like, okay, we're our own city, we're our own people, we're strong, we're caring, we're definitely rooted in community, and oh my God, it's just a beautiful city. Like anytime people try to talk trash, I'm so defensive, but Detroit is beautiful. Detroit never left, and Detroit is majority black. People got to understand that, accept it. So, yep.
I love that. Thank you guys so much. Like, I love being in Detroit, honestly. So, the third question, in community building and organizing, you meet many different individuals and many different personalities. How do you guys set boundaries and also cultivate a positive environment for yourself and for your academic studies or in the workplace environment?
So in my personal experience, I have learned that it is so important to advocate for yourself. It's so important to advocate for yourself because, especially as a woman of color growing up in an underprivileged city, I don't want to use that word, but y'all know what I mean. We're underfunded. A lot of stuff that other cities have, we don't have. So just knowing that and knowing that you have goals that you need to reach, you have to advocate for yourself. You have to speak up because people sometimes won't do it for you. So you just have to really know who you are, be comfortable in that, and really like ground yourself and root yourself in that. And I think that just kind of opens the door to other things. Like when you set the tone for respect, people will kind of just, oh, okay, like I can't do that around her. I can't, and also giving yourself choices, trying to create your own opportunities outside of the workplace. Like I wanted to build a business and I didn't wait to do it. I'm still in college. I've been in college for a long time, but I didn't want to wait until I got out of my 20s or until I got my degree to start my career. I literally was like, nobody's giving me a manager job. I want to be a manager. I want to manage something myself. So I started a business, and that alone has gotten me so many other opportunities and opened the door for so many other things. So yeah, I would say just being confident, being courageous, and knowing who you are.
I love that. Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
No problem. So, in community building and organizing, you meet a lot of different individuals and a lot of different personalities. How do you set boundaries and also cultivate a positive experience and environment for yourself and for your work environment?
Okay. I gotta say, in organizing, it is really difficult to try to find that and to cultivate that for yourself and the people around you. Especially when it comes to the type of organizing that requires you to be on, like, always on call, or it's just nonstop, like there's work, work, work. And especially with, I think like most of the organizer friends and people that I know, we're all workaholics, and it's so hard to force ourselves to like rest and take our weekend as a weekend. I know when I was more organizing in the community, I had like 3 to 4 like part-time jobs with different orgs, or would do things for free and stuff, and never was able to find my time and fully rest. So that is a flaw that I've tried to work on for sure. And then when it comes to trying to cultivate a really safe and happy and healthy space with people, um, in organizing is having time to rest with other people as well, having fun moments. We can't be always, straight up hard, going hard and nonstop working, and oh, we've got this issue, but we're gonna get, we're not gonna stop. Even after we've succeeded with this issue, we're not gonna stop. We're gonna go on to the next issue. No, you actually need time to celebrate and to take a break in between things. You can't fix everything overnight, even though we freaking wish to, but like you need to take that time to um, come back to yourself and remember that you're human and you've got a body that needs you and your attention, and you've got to remember you have a life of your own and you have hobbies, and um, again, really just get back into yourself. And so with that, having that kind of balance in your workspace and cultivating that for yourself and for your coworkers is even better, because then everybody knows that if you're stressed out, all you got to do is just let them know, hey, I need some time, and mental health is important, and all these different types of things. So I think making more time, what I've done especially, is that making more time to celebrate and to rest is the most important thing that you can do in organizing, because there is organizing, and then there's what do you do with yourself when you're all drained and tired and exhausted. So it's like a balance that you really have to find. So
Thank you. Thank you guys both for answering those questions. This is our last question. I try to make the last question, a little more oomph, if I can say that. As young women of color living in a diverse and large community, what are some obstacles you face when it comes to academic and work proficiency, plus advocating for youth, racial, and environmental justice? And what is your triumph?
My goodness, this is such a great question. And it's so multifaceted. So like you said, we are young women of color in Detroit. So there's a lot of distractions out here. There is a lot of struggles that we're going to face. There is a lot of people who don't know how amazing we are just off first glance. And that alone is a struggle. Personally, I've been in work situations where I was asked to change my hair or I was going to be fired. I've been in situations where I have too much of an attitude and I'm too much in predominantly white spaces. I've been in, like, the list goes on. And it really just comes down to a lack of people of color in positions of power. It comes down to, and that's why it's so important to advocate for yourself. And that is part of my triumph. These are skills that I've learned to develop over time from going through all these hardships. Like, I've been through mental health struggles since high school. I've been through housing insecurities. The list goes on, sexual assault, like the list, there is so much. But everything that I've gone through has turned me into this amazing, strong, dynamic young woman who is 25, owns a business, is in school, chasing her dreams, which a lot of people are not, like, they're afraid to do. And I don't really just kind of take whatever's handed to me anymore. I say, hey, like, I have the power to change this, and I'm going to try to execute that to the best of my ability. And I just don't know if I would have the same ambition and drive that I have now had I not gone through a lot of the struggles that I went through trying to get to this point, and I'm not finished yet. So yeah, I think that really just kind of keeps me going every day, and it's just been a journey. But yeah, every day we wake up, we have another chance to get it right, and I just kind of focus on that and I keep it moving.
I love that. Yeah, I had to mute myself because so much clapping. Like, round of applause.
Ooh.
Honestly.
I mean, she said everything. Really, like when it comes to being young women, people of color, I bet you experience this too, Lex. Is about we get in spaces and people definitely undermine us or like think that we can't or we aren't capable just because we're young. But really, we've been ready since since I would say years ago. So like. There is that kind of ageism, if I dare say that, but like the kind of judgment where like we're too young to be in this position, but it's because we're young. Like that no other qualification or understanding except that we're young. So I've definitely had that to where people would just would not allow me to be in such like management spaces or in a management position just because I'm not the age that they expected. When really you could do that job and then some better than the person that's already in there, you know? And I see you guys nodding because you're like, yep, we know a person, we know who that is. We got that person in our head right now. Because it's true, and especially as women of color. And then you can't see me, but I'm a Muslim Arab woman, so I wear a hijab, and I'm brown. And going into places, the first thing that people don't really expect me to relate. They don't even think I'm from Detroit half the time. Not even half, most of the time. They're just like, oh, you're from Dearborn. And at this point, I get insulted because I'm so not like I'm not a Dearborner at all. I relate much more in Detroit, and I'm from here. Like, come on. But as young women of color, it's young, and then women. It's a whole other department. Come on. And then anytime we are assertive, we're seen as aggressive and we're seen as loud or have an attitude when really they're just not used to us. And they're not used to giving space to women like us, especially young, strong women of color. Like, come on. They're not used to it. They want to keep the status quo and how things have been. But we're just like, no, we're here to change. Like, we're here to change things up. Kind of a little remix. So, definitely that throughout my life, and then also just mental health challenges for sure. It's not easy being in the spaces that we are in, especially predominantly white spaces. Like, thank God that I have walked away from those types of spaces for a while now. Part of the reason why I came back to Wayne State is I actually started up at MSU. And I've got a lot of stories, but one of the main stories is my professors and some students like wouldn't even like register that I was there. Kind of like they wouldn't like try to bring me in conversation. I'd always have to, metaphorically bring my own chair or like include myself. And it's exactly true what Lex is talking about, is you got to advocate for yourself, and even that is so tiring. It's so hard. And Lex, you can like jump in anytime you want, like with this, but like it's so hard to keep going, and that takes a toll on mental health and what they think a strong Black woman would be, a strong woman. They always expect us to be on our A game and to be unstoppable and nothing can touch us. I'm like, no, we just want to be respected and give us our space, give us the same resources that you get and everybody else before you got. Come on, we're willing to do the work, but you're making us out to be as though we're trying to, I don't know anymore. It's just, I don't even know anymore. It's just really unfair, and to continuously be in that kind of environment of advocating for yourself, trying to show every person and teaching other people, because essentially this is like a teaching experience for them. And as Detroiters, I think that we get enough experience with struggle. And so when we get to the outside, everyone's like, oh, what's that? And we're like, oh, we actually had to like fight all of this stuff just to try to come out and do this. And now we got to fight you. Like, it's like a never ending, it really is just like a never ending struggle. And that's why I kind of came back to Detroit, and just for college reasons. I'm coming back. My mental health is drained. Working for Congresswoman Rashida, she's been like my role model since middle school. So like I tell everybody I can die happy. because I know that she's a fighter, and I know that she's gonna fight for every single person and really fight for everybody. And she's already said that she's not gonna have Detroit in the new district, or most of Detroit as she has now, but she's still willing to help in, and she's already told the residents, like, yo, we're gonna, even if I'm not your congresswoman, you still come to us and we'll help you figure out what you need, and we're gonna do the work. So I don't want to ever be in an environment where I'm second guessed, or I have to fight so hard for people to believe me when I show them my resume, or when I show them that, hey, like, I come in and I am as who I am, and they just take one look at me with my scarf, or, you know, like, as a brown woman, it's just like, oh, you know, you probably don't have the same qualifications and all these things. And I'm sorry, like, I'm ranting at this point, but it really is such a sad thing that we have to deal with, because we're just constantly advocating for ourselves. And if we ever break down or are tired, it's seen as oh, you actually couldn't do it in the beginning. You know, you couldn't do it anyway. So never giving us as much grace, especially as women. And then when we go to the men's side, it's like so many expectations for them, and they can speak on that. But like, it is hard out here. I'm glad to be back in Detroit, and I've been here for a long time now again. So yeah, go to places where you're appreciated and celebrated and not tolerated. So.
Oh, yeah, I needed this. You know, as a college student and also a woman of color, I look forward to hearing these conversations, especially from you guys, because it's just advice. It's just lessons that and it's experience that I need to hear, and that, you know, the girls that need to hear. So I really, really appreciate you guys so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for having us. This was such an honor. Thank you, America. It was great to meet you. Thank you, Naomi.
Yeah, likewise, Lex. Yeah.
If you guys would like to say your socials, so, you know, everyone can follow you on the gram, go ahead.
Yes. Well, my my personal social media, my Instagram, I think just about everywhere, Facebook, all that good stuff, is Lex Cali Rose. So it's just Lex, LEXCALI Rose. And my media company's page is called Wealthy Media. It's spelled healthy with a W in front. So WHEALTHY Media. And that's like my name across the board: TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. So, yep, that's me. And then the website is just wealthymedia.com. Just remember that H.
That's smart. I'm looking at you guys up. I'm looking you guys up right now, actually. So I'm like, ooh. I like that. I like a play on words, so that's cool. Yeah, okay. For me, my Facebook is America Ali Yahya, my full name. And then my Instagram is actually that Arab Detroiter. It's THATARABDETROITER. So, yeah.
Thank you guys so much for letting me interview you guys for this episode. I've learned so much, and I can't wait to see you guys another time.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. Have a great day, guys.
All right, you too. Bye.